What is good, you two? Quinn Wade basketball analysis coming to y'all with that late night ending of the weekend analysis. And we're going to talk about the Brooklyn Nets, who went from all the way to the top, the number one seed earlier for a couple of months this season. And now they're not even a playoff team as of tonight. And they currently sit in the ninth spot. Kyrie Irving is still under the mandate. Kevin Durant has been great this season, but they never really looked at like a great team, even when they was number one this year. They also don't have James Harden because they traded him. They don't know when Ben Simmons is going to come back. They don't play great defense. Their offense still look decent, but it's still clunky. This team just looked terrible. Like I said, even when I seen this team in the beginning of the year, they was number one, for about a month or almost two. And I'm like, this team don't look like a championship team. Honestly. Anybody that watched basketball and knows basketball knew that even with James Harden and Kevin Durant and the team that they had around them, it wasn't going to be enough to win a title. When they brought Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving to Brooklyn, their goal was to be a dynamic duo that can bring a championship to Brooklyn. 3 seasons later, they don't look like it then and now, since they've been on this roster together. And it's scary, a waste of time, stupid and idiotic if they don't win one. I don't honestly believe that Ben Simmons helps them win the title. I was a person that said they was better off keeping Harden. I was also a person that said trading for Harden made sense when they had KD and Kyrie to make that big three happen. I was happy for it to happen. I thought they would win a championship at that point when they got the trade done. But I also didn't see Kyrie and James Harden both getting injured in the same series when they actually looked like they was going to blow out the Bucks because they was up 2-0. And then next thing you know, they both go down in that series and they lose it to the Bucks, who became the eventual champions last season. Now the Nets look lost. They look crazy. They look stupid. Their defense has been bad all year. Their offense has been hit or miss all year. We haven't seen KD and Kyrie on the court enough together. Basically, all 3 seasons that they have been under contract. And remember, when this team got put together, KD missed the first season. Kyrie played that season and missed the entire playoffs. Last year, Kyrie helped them in the first round in 2 games, and then he was out for the rest of the series against the Bucks. James Harden came back, but it wasn't enough. And now he's traded this year to Philly, and now they just look like a scattered pile of nothing. They have a bunch of players. They still have KD, and even Kyrie, you can get hot, but this is about winning a title. When Kevin Durant left Golden State, it was to send a message that I could come to Brooklyn, build my own team, and win here. And they haven't been close to that at all. The first year that he came to Brooklyn, he didn't even play. This year, he came the first year that he played in Brooklyn, they didn't do nothing but lose to the Bucks in the second round. This year, they're ninth with a month left to go, and they look absolutely crap now. And we supposed to get behind this team and hype them up when honestly they look crap. they just lost 6 to the last 7, and KD and Kyrie played, and they just got beat by the Celtics, who've been moving up the ranking the last couple months, and the Nets been going backwards. They went so far backwards that people don't even look at this team as a contender. And even if you look at the fact that they get Ben Simmons and these guys back, they haven't played together. All they bench, their roster, the entire team hasn't played enough games together because guys been in and out the entire season, whether it's KD, James Harden, Kyrie, or even Ben Simmons, who hasn't even played 1 game for the Brooklyn Nets this entire season. At least when James Harden played, he was an all-star for the Nets. At least that. But even then, they didn't look that good either this entire season, even with James Harden. So this Nets team, to me, it's sad to say it. It looked like last year they made the move, the power move, that can possibly bring a championship to Brooklyn. And ever since then, they did everything to lose. Everything that they gained last year, and it just crashed. And it looks like it might burn this season. And I just don't know where you go um, if you're the Brooklyn Nets right now. I really just don't. I mean, the mandate, Ben Simmons, the defense, the players in and out. They had Cam Thomas helping them get blew out every single game that he had big games, and they were still getting blew out those games. It was a complete embarrassment to the Nets organization because they went from number one all the way to the bottom because of that move to let Cam Thomas show out with Kyrie and get blew out every game to move from one all the way down to ninth at this point. And then that didn't make much sense because the goal was to win a title this year, not have everybody have ample opportunity to show out and get a roster spot just so the team can go from winning the title mentality to just be another team in the NBA with Kevin Durant on it. So, like I was telling a lot of people about Kevin Durant, this was his prime. Like, literally. These last couple seasons is the legacy seasons for Kevin Durant. Where will he finish? Where will he be? Can he win a title? Everybody looked at Kevin Durant's career. He only won a title on a super team. He only won a title in Golden State. A lot of people backed him up when he came off the Achilles injury. He looked a little okay. Then he started looking like the old Kevin Durant, but they haven't done nothing since. Even this year, he had a chance to win the MVP this year, and then he went backwards and only is not even in the conversation for MVP. Now that the season is ending next month, so it just shows you how the Nets season has just been that bad. It shows you how this Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, idea sounded smart. It sounded smart, sounded good in the beginning. 3 years later has been a disaster. No matter what they have done with this roster, who they have traded, who they have added, who they moved around, signed, and released, this team has only got to the second round, and that's the furthest they have been in 3 seasons. And that's facts, and that's the truth. This team has just been that bad. They literally have. This was the season where they should be able to get it all together, and instead they went all the way backwards to the point where they have to do it the hard way. And they still might just be a first or second round exit regardless, which means they will still be a second round exit at best in 3 straight seasons. And these have been Kevin Durant 2 best seasons in a while, honestly. And I just don't know what to expect in the future. I really don't, because if this team don't figure out how to put a legitimate championship team around Kevin Durant, they just wasted the years with him. And this isn't the first organization that done wasted a franchise talent like Kevin Durant. This isn't the first. And it was his decision to come to Brooklyn. It was his decision to play with Kyrie. It has been a disaster 3 seasons in a row so far. Kevin Durant did sign the extension to set an example for what James Harden should do and what Kyrie should do. Kyrie did not sign the extension. James Harden did not sign the extension. Now he's in Philly. And now they got Ben Simmons, who's already under contract, who hasn't even played a game. Now we don't even know if they play well or fit together, what lineups they're going to play, just because guys like Joe Harris and like a lot of this roster have been out for so many games or out for this season, to the point where what is the team going to be when the playoffs start? The team has changed so much throughout this whole season, from free agency all the way to now, to the point where I don't even know what their starting lineup is. I don't know what their best lineup is. I don't know what their closing lineup is. I don't know if KD and Kyrie and Ben Simmons is enough. It sounds good, but it also sounds dumb at the same time, because they had to do all of that from the bottom to hope that they can get all the way to the finals and still have to win the finals to win a championship, which sounds absolutely dumb at this point, especially when you look at the fact that they losing so many games, even if Kevin Durant plays. You know what I'm saying? So this experiment has been a disaster. What they do with Kyrie Irving, I just don't know. It's not Kyrie's fault that they made up a mandate. It's not Kyrie's fault that he got injured certain games. It just hasn't worked. That's something that we know for sure. Kevin Durant still look like one of the best players. He do not look like the best player in the NBA anymore. These last 2 seasons, he has had so many injuries, and this season had, like I said, the last 2 seasons he has had so many injuries to the point where I do wonder how far Kevin Durant can get you, you know, at this point of his career. I really do question that. One player always told people, even my girlfriend Destiny, one player only can take you so far. You need more than one player to win you a championship. You need a great collection of guys that can step up, make shots, make plays, and Kevin Durant, who has been a Finals MVP twice, has the ability. He just don't have enough around him right now to win a title. And the problem is he's only getting older. He's playing less and less games, and it looked less and less likely that he can get it done in Brooklyn. Although he did just sign the extension this offseason to stay in Brooklyn, which is his own decision, his own choice. I personally say he should never made that decision this season, and also the last the two prior seasons before, prove that that was the wrong decision to make. And now we just have to see what they do in the offseason. They have a lot of veterans, a lot of youth, and a lot of talent to reconstruct this roster around Kevin Durant again. And we'll see if it happens. But if I had to be real, like anybody else in the world, that is, the Kevin Durant to Brooklyn has been a disaster. 3 seasons, the best thing they have done is get to the second round, and that's it. And people looked at Kevin Durant as the best player in the world last year, and they only got to the second round and they was out. People called him the best player in the world coming into this season. And they're the ninth seed right now with a month to go. That's reality right now. Like, the Nets have been a disaster. From the first season to last year getting put out in the second round to now being the ninth seed going into the playoffs as of Sunday. This experiment has been an embarrassment, a disgrace, and one of the worst things I've ever seen in my entire life. And now I just kind of wonder what's next for the Brooklyn Nets and Kevin Durant. They still have moves to make. They still have things that they can do, this offseason and next year to try to figure out how to put a great and good enough championship contender around Kevin Durant and see if it works and see if it delivers in the playoffs and see if Kevin Durant can step back up, and get it done. And we will just have to see. But like I said, these last 3 years have been the opposite of what you wanted to see. If you was a Nets fan, happy to get Kevin Durant. I don't know what they're going to do with Kyrie. I don't know what they're going to do with Ben Simmons. But what I do know, they're not winning nothing this year. I literally didn't put the Nets on my contender list just because even in the beginning of the year to now, I just honestly didn't believe there was contenders. I just didn't. And being a ninth seed right now, going with a month left, you don't really look at a contender at this point. Honestly, the ninth seed don't look like a contender. And honestly, even when I watched them the last 2 weeks, they look like crap more than anything else. And that's just the God honest truth. But we'll see what they do. I'm an optimist. I'm a realist. It looked terrible when he went to Brooklyn. 3 years later, it was factual at this point. But now that he signed the extension, he's still under contract. They still have a lot of talent. They can still reconstruct and redo this roster in the offseason, depending on how this season ends, depending on how the play-in ends, depending on how the playoff ends, to still try to figure out how they're going to win with KD. If he wants to be in Brooklyn, this is where he wants to play. This is where he wants to be. That's why he was in a rush to sign the extension. They still have time to figure out how to win with them as a franchise guy. Like I said, Kevin Durant is still one of the best players in the world. He is no longer the best player in the world, and that's fine. Teams win championships. Kevin Durant can still score. He can still dominate. He can still lead you to a title with the right team mates around him. So now we just have to see how they're going to get it done, how they're going to put it together, and if they actually can get it done with Kevin Durant. OKC didn't do it. We know that Golden State, he didn't stay there that long, but he did get it done. Brooklyn, they still have time because he's still under the contract. He's still committed. We'll see if they can get it done with him. But I'm only judging based off this year and the two prior has been complete embarrassment, disgrace, and disaster to what you want to do with Kevin Durant as your franchise player. And like I said, if they lose in the first round, the furthest they have got with Kevin Durant is literally the second round so far. And that's it with the Nets. That's the opposite of what you want to do with a guy in his prime trying to climb up the legacy board of all-time greats. This is a guy that's not in the top 10. He was trying to get into the top 10 and move up with his move to Brooklyn, and he has done it the complete opposite. He hasn't really moved up at all since he went to Brooklyn. Um, he hasn't made a lot. He hasn't made that. He didn't make the All NBA team last year, and he might not even make it this year, honestly. And he didn't win an MVP. He didn't win a championship or a Finals MVP in Brooklyn, and missed a complete season also in Brooklyn. So going to Brooklyn hasn't really helped or benefited his career that much, honestly. And if you watch basketball and you judge the greats the way everybody else do or higher, Kevin Durant has accomplished really nothing. Same with Kyrie in Brooklyn. And now we have to see what they do, when the season is over, when the playoffs is over, and in the off season to see what they can do to try to get some things accomplished with Kevin Durant as a best player while he's still under contract and want to be there. So we'll see what happens. But other than that, Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis signing out. Y'all stay blessed. Enjoy the night. Do y'all thing. See y'all later. Hopefully tomorrow. Love y'all.